This is GRE Bytes. My name is Davis. I'm an educator with 10 years of experience.
And I'm Orion, the founder of Stellar GRE.
We're here to bring you your weekly bite-sized episode on GRE prep and grad school admissions. Check out our top-rated GRE self-study program at stellargre.com and use the code BYTES for 10% off all memberships. All right, let's get to it. We've tried previously a in-person live walking through problem that was for something from the verbal section. We're going to try one and see how it goes on the quant section, and looking forward to any listener feedback going forward. So let's jump in, dive right in. Orion, we've got a question prepped for you. I can read it. You can read it.
I'll read it.
Okay. And then we've got, let's get to the strategies.
Great. So let's try to do a live run through of a quantitative reasoning problem here on air. It's a little bit challenging because you can't see the question with me, but I'm here to walk you through my thought process, and hopefully that's not too much of a handicap. So this question pops up. It looks like there are only two sentences here, so that's not a paragraph. And if I look at the answer choices, I see it's only a choose one, and there are no graphs, so I'm going to do this right then and there. This seems to be a choose one, and there are clearly variables in the answer choices here. I see X, Y, and W variables, which means that within a few seconds, I can already anticipate that I should be plugging in once for this problem. With that in mind, I'm going to begin to read the question, plugging in concrete values for variables as need be, and solving continuously as I go.
What's the first number that you're going to plug in?
Let's find out. It kind of depends on the question itself. So let's take a look. It says, a certain movie theater sells W adult tickets for X dollars. Okay, because I'm doing this even in my head, we're going to use some numbers that are really simple. So let's say that the theater sold 10 adult tickets for $4. 10 for 4, okay? And Y child tickets for 25% less than the adult price. Okay, so 25% less is a quarter less of 4. A quarter of 4 is 1. So 25% less would be 3. So they sold those child tickets for $3, and let's say they sold 2 child tickets for $3. So all told, 10 adults for $4, that's $40, and 2 tickets for kids at $3, that's $6. Let's keep going. Which of the following expressions represents the theater's total income? That would be 40 plus 6 or $46. That's the answer to the question. So now all I have to do is go to these answer choices and plug those values into the variables and see which of these 5 answer choices is really my target number, or $46 in disguise. Let's take a look. This first one says WX plus 0.25 XY. Okay, so XY would be 4 times 2, that's 8. 25% of that is 2, plus WX is 40. 40 plus 2 is 42. That doesn't work. Okay. Next, X times the quantity of W plus 1.25 Y. Y is 2. 1.25 is going to be a fractional amount, which is probably not going to work because we have integer values here. So we can pass that for now. Let's move on to the next one. WX plus 0.75 XY. Okay, so that would be 4 times 2, that's 8. 75% of 8 is 6. W times X is 10 times 4. That's 46. Bing, bing, bing. That's the number that we're looking for. But because we're plugging in once, we do have to go through all the answer choices just to be sure. So let's keep going. This next one has X times the quantity of W plus 1.75 Y. Y again is 2. 1.75 times 2 is a non-integer, so that's not going to work. And finally, we have 1.25 WXY. W times X is 40 times 2 is 80. That's way too big. We can stop right there. So C is the only answer choice that correctly gives us back our target number. I did that only reading the question once with fairly easy small positive integers. I could do all of the math in my head. I also stopped solving for some of these problems once I realized that it was unlikely to give me back my target number. And, I spoke that in complete English sentences too. So this is something that with little practice, you can certainly accomplish in less than 60 seconds.
And for a question like this, will you briefly explain why this question seems easy enough where if someone was familiar with algebra, they could go in and say, oh, I know W represents this, X this, and Y that, and 25%, 0.25. So I could do it without ever plugging in, but just briefly give us a hint why that type of mindset might lead someone astray.
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, the algebra here is not super advanced. It will be complex for some students. Let's just put it that way. And for those students, absolutely, we're just going to sidestep the algebra and move into plugging in as quickly as possible. But here's the thing, even for more advanced students who feel quite comfortable with the algebra, this is what I generally say. I have yet to meet a student who is as accurate and efficient with algebra than he or she is with arithmetic. No matter who you are, no matter how much of a hotshot you are with the algebra, you've been doing arithmetic longer. And if we're going for those top percentile scores, which these high performers can certainly achieve, and if you can get the algebra correct 98% of the time under a time limit, but you can get the arithmetic right 99% of the time under the time limit, why not do the arithmetic? So again, we're trying to find the solution that consumes the fewest cognitive resources and is the most reliably accurate over the greatest number of questions so that we can move through questions very efficiently. Finally, when we try to solve questions by creating algebra from scratch, because we're dealing with abstractions, it is sometimes easier to miss something that we would otherwise see very clearly if we were dealing with concrete actual numbers. So I think working with algebraic abstractions also increases the likelihood of careless responding.
I think that's a great response. Going straight to algebra, while it might be enticing for people who feel comfortable with algebra, it's definitely, as you said, more mentally energy intensive and therefore potentially subject to error with that level of abstraction you're talking about. And it also just highlights, I hope, for everybody, the GRE is not necessarily looking for understanding of concepts. It's looking for, as you said, efficient, accurate, within time frame, within a time limit, competency, ability to get the right answer. And so having a clear delineated strategy, such as was demonstrated today, can save a lot of the headache and a lot of the mental weighing of options. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know if it worked. We'll be back next week for another bite-sized episode of GRE Bites. If you had any other topics you'd like to discuss or feedback from these episodes, let us know at stellargre@gmail.com. And if you're ready to take your prep to the next level, check out our top-rated GRE self-study program at stellargre.com. You can use the code BITES for 10% off all memberships. Thank you.